Amanda slammed the rejection letter on the table, so hard the cup of water beside it tipped over and spilled across the floor. She did not move to clean it. She just stood there, breathing hard, staring at the wet floor like it had personally wronged her. This was the 9th letter this month. 9. She had counted. Every single one said the same thing in different words. We regret to inform you, we have moved forward with other candidates. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. Like they cared about her future. Like any of them had ever looked at her and seen anything worth caring about. Amanda was 28 years old. She had no savings, no connections, and no one to call when things got hard. What she had was a one-room apartment in a building where the ceiling leaked when it rained, a landlord who knocked on her door every first of the month without fail, and 2 hands that had never once been afraid of hard work. She had sold food on the street corner. She had braided hair in a neighbor's living room for 12 hours straight, her fingers aching, her back bent like a question mark. She had cleaned offices at night, scrubbing floors until they shined for people who would never know her name. She had washed clothes, carried goods at the market, babysat other people's children while quietly wondering who was going to take care of her. Every single coin she made went to 2 things, food and rent. There was never a third thing. There was no money for dreams. Dreams were a luxury, and Amanda was not living a luxury life. But she had one thing she refused to let go of. Her certificate. A degree in business administration she had earned while working 2 jobs, studying at night with a flashlight when the electricity cut out, which was often. She had walked across that graduation stage alone, because there was no one in the crowd clapping for her. She had taken a photo of herself in her gown outside the hall and smiled so hard her cheeks hurt, because she decided that day that the smile was going to mean something someday. Someday had been taking too long to arrive. That morning, while scrolling through her phone during a break from cleaning a restaurant kitchen, she had seen it. A job posting. Hana Global Enterprises. Operations Coordinator. Competitive salary. Applications close Friday. She had read it 3 times. Her heart had done something strange. It had lifted. Just a little. Just enough. Hana Global was not a small company. Everybody in the city knew that name. They had a glass building downtown that caught the light in the morning and threw it across the street in gold pieces. People who worked there wore clean clothes and carried laptops and looked like they were going somewhere. Amanda had passed that building so many times on her way to her cleaning jobs, always looking up at it for just a second before looking back down at the pavement. She had gone home that night and worked on her application until 2 a.m. She fixed every line. She read it out loud to herself to hear how it sounded. She checked the spelling 4 times. When she finally sent it, she sat back in her chair and exhaled slowly like she had been holding her breath for years. 3 days later she got a call. Miss Amanda? The voice was smooth, professional. We received your application for the operations coordinator role at Hana Global. We'd like you to come in for an interview with our director, Mr. Park Junho, this Thursday at 10 a.m. She almost dropped the phone. She said yes. She said thank you. She hung up and then stood in the middle of her small room and pressed both hands over her mouth, because she didn't know if she was going to scream or cry or both. She borrowed a blazer from a neighbor. She ironed her only good skirt twice. She practiced answers to interview questions while washing dishes, while walking to the bus stop, while lying in bed staring at the ceiling the night before. Thursday morning, she was at the Hana Global building 40 minutes early. She sat in the lobby and watched people move in and out through the glass doors, and she told herself, this is where I belong. I have worked for this. I deserve to be here. She was called in at exactly 10 a.m. The office was large and cool. There were floor-to-ceiling windows and a long desk, and behind that desk sat a man she immediately understood was Mr. Park Junho. He was Korean, somewhere in his early 40s, with sharp eyes and the kind of stillness that came from knowing you had power and not needing to announce it. He looked at her the way people look at something they are considering purchasing. Amanda sat down, straightened her spine, and smiled. The interview started normally enough. He asked about her experience. She answered clearly. He asked why she wanted the role. She told him about her background in business administration, about her years of managing her own small operations on the street just to survive, About how she understood logistics and coordination not just from a textbook, but from real life. She was good. She could feel it. She was doing well. And then something shifted. Mr. Park leaned back in his chair. He looked at her for a long moment without speaking. Then he picked up a pen and turned it slowly in his fingers. "You are impressive," he said. "Your application was one of the strongest we received." "Thank you," Amanda said. "But I want to be honest with you." He paused. "There are many qualified candidates for this position. What makes the difference is not always what is on paper." Amanda nodded carefully. "I understand. I'm confident that if you give me the opportunity." "I will give you the opportunity," he said quietly. He looked at her directly. "But I need something from you first." The air in the room changed. Amanda felt it before she understood it. "What do you mean?" she asked slowly. He told her. Not loudly. Not roughly. He said it in the same calm, controlled voice he had used for the entire interview. He said it like it was a business transaction. Like it was simply another term in a contract she could choose to accept or decline. Amanda sat very still. She heard the words. She processed them. And then something inside her, something she had carried quietly for 28 years, something that had survived every hard morning and every long night, cracked. Just slightly. Just enough to hurt. She started. "Take some time to think about it," Mr. Park said, already looking back at the papers on his desk. "Let us know by end of week." She walked out of that building on legs that did not feel like her own. Asterisk, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling us where you are watching from. And if this story already has your heart, tap that like button. Let's go. Asterisk. She sat on the bus home and stared out the window at the city moving past her, and she felt nothing. Then she felt everything. She pressed her hand against the glass and closed her eyes and breathed through her nose slowly, like her chest wasn't caving in. By the time she got home, she was shaking. She sat on the edge of her bed, and dropped her bag on the floor, and just sat there. The room was quiet. The ceiling fan made its slow, tired circle above her. Outside, she could hear children playing in the street, someone frying something, a neighbor's television. Normal sounds. Normal life. And she was sitting in the middle of it feeling like the ground had opened up beneath her feet. Her phone buzzed. It was her friend Deo. Asterisk, how did it go? Tell me everything. Asterisk. Amanda stared at the message for a long time. Then she put the phone face down on the bed. She thought about everything she had done to get to that interview. Every early morning. Every night she had eaten plain rice because it was all she could afford. Every time someone had looked at her like she was invisible, and she had swallowed the hurt, and kept moving. She thought about the blazer she had borrowed, the skirt she had ironed twice, the answers she had practiced until they were smooth. And then she thought about what he had said, and her jaw tightened. "For years," she whispered to the ceiling. "For years I have worked. I have carried load. I have braided hair. I have cleaned floors that were not mine. I have eaten little so I could pay rent. I have studied when I was tired. I have held on." Her voice broke on the last two words. I held on. She turned on her side and pulled her knees to her chest. And now that something real is finally within reach, they gave me this. They gave me this to choose. The room offered her no answer. She lay there as the light outside shifted from afternoon into evening, and the question that had started as a whisper grew louder and louder until it filled the entire room. Should I give up? She called Deo at 9 p.m. "Amanda, I have been waiting for your message since morning. What happened? How was the interview?" "It went well," Amanda said. Her voice was flat. Deo paused. "That doesn't sound like it went well." "The interview itself was fine. I answered everything. He said my application was one of the strongest." She stopped. "Okay, but he wants something from me, Deo." She swallowed hard. "Something I cannot give." There was a long silence on the line. Then Deo said quietly, "Amanda, what did he say to you?" Amanda told her. Every word of it. When she finished, she could hear Deo breathing hard on the other end. "That man," Deo said slowly. "That man sat behind that big desk in that big building and said that to you." "Yes. After everything you brought to that interview." Yes. Amanda. Dayo's voice cracked. I am so sorry. Don't be sorry, Amanda said. Just tell me what to do. You know what you have to do. Doi. Amanda sat up on the bed. Her voice was rising now. Dayo, I am tired. I am so tired. I have been fighting for so long. I wake up every morning and I fight. I sleep and I wake up and I fight again. And every time I think I am getting somewhere, every single time, something like this is waiting for me. She pressed the back of her hand to her mouth. How long am I supposed to keep going? As long as it takes, Dayo said firmly. That's easy to say. I know it is. I know, Amanda. But listen to me. If you walk back into that building and you give that man what he wants, you will get the job. And every single morning that you wake up and go to that office, you will know how you got there. You will know. And it will eat you alive. Amanda was quiet. That job is not worth your dignity, Dayo said. Nothing is worth that. Asterisk, you are still here. Which means this story has you. Before we continue, subscribe if you haven't, drop a comment and tell us where you are watching from, and like this video. We see every single one. Now let's keep going. Asterisk. Amanda did not sleep that night. She sat at her small table by the window, and watched the street below go quiet as the hours passed. She thought about her mother, who had died when Amanda was 16, who had worked in other people's houses her whole life, and never once complained. She thought about what her mother used to say. Asterisk, your hands are yours, your name is yours. Guard them, asterisk. She thought about Mr. Park Jun-ho sitting behind that desk with his pen turning in his fingers, speaking to her like the choice he was offering her was a reasonable one. She thought about the glass building and the gold light. And she made a decision. By 6 a.m. she had written a letter. It was not long. She spent 40 minutes on it, and she chose every word deliberately. Miss Amanda, I want to be very clear. What was communicated to you during that interview does not represent this company. It does not represent our values, our policies, or our standards. Not in any way. Her voice was steady, but there was something underneath it that sounded like controlled anger. We take this matter very seriously. Amanda opened her mouth, closed it. I also want you to know, Mrs. Choi continued, that your application and your interview performance were reviewed independently by our full hiring panel. You were unanimously the strongest candidate for the position. The room tilted slightly. What? The operations coordinator role is yours, Miss Amanda. If you still want it. On proper terms. Full contract, standard conditions, nothing else. Another pause, softer this time. I am sorry for what happened to you. You deserved better than that. Amanda pressed her hand over her heart. She could feel it knocking against her palm. Mr. Park, she managed, is no longer with this company as of this morning, Mrs. Choi said simply. Asterisk, if you are still watching, good. You stayed. Subscribe, drop a comment telling us where you are from. And like this video if this story moved you. You have no idea how much it means to us. Asterisk. Amanda walked into Hana Global on a Monday morning 3 weeks later. She wore a blazer that was her own this time. She had bought it with the signing bonus from her contract. It was navy blue and it fit her perfectly. She walked through the glass doors and crossed the marble lobby and pressed the elevator button for the 4th floor. And when the doors opened and she stepped out into the clean, bright office space that was now hers to work in, she stopped for just a moment. She thought about the girl who had braided hair for 12 hours with aching fingers. She thought about the girl who had eaten plain rice and studied by flashlight. She thought about the girl who had walked past this building so many times looking up at it. She thought about the morning she had sat at her small table and cried until there was nothing left. And she thought about how she had sent that letter anyway. How she had chosen herself when it felt like it cost her everything. She exhaled slowly. Then she straightened her back, lifted her head, and walked to her desk. She had not given up. She had refused the wrong door. And the right one had opened. Not easily. Not without pain. But it had opened. And Amanda, the girl who had carried herself through every hard thing life had placed in her path, walked through it. Asterisk, that is the end of today's story. If Amanda's fight spoke to something in you, subscribe to this channel right now. Leave a comment below telling us where you are watching from, and what part of this story hit you the hardest. And if you liked this video, tap that like button one more time before you go. We will see you in the next one. Asterisk.